Welcome to The Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on The Weekly, just for you, Warhammer 5e actual play.
You specifically did a lot of preamble to cut my rant down, didn't you?
Yes.
Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but okay.
The Grey Knight for Pendragon 6th edition. Evil Genius Games heel turn. I guess
surprised about this?
Yeah, they've already already done this already, but we'll cover their latest.
This is a heel return?
Yeah, return. Yeah, they're doubling down on their heel status. And to lighten the mood, we'll cover what's available for Free RPG Day 2024, which is, I think, this Saturday.
Oh, is it? Okay.
All right. So let's begin with a topic Chris recommended. And
I'm sorry about this, everybody.
Yes. So it appears that a motley crew of clout-seeking, I'm going to, go after the biggest brands on tabletop and the internet and try to make this work. I don't know how they didn't work Star Wars in here somehow, but Heretic Hunt is coming. So a Dungeons and Dragons Warhammer 40K actual play. Nice. So Polygon talked with the people putting this together, and those people include Louise, Sugden, Peachy, who both left Games Workshop and are doing quite well on YouTube. They carried their fame and creativity with them and made very entertaining YouTube channels. And this will be run by Daniel Saye, is the Dungeon Master. Actor Greg Jones, who's done voices on, Bolter. Oh, yeah, who's done some 40K voices on some PC games. And Jamila Hall is kind of the producer and will also be a performer. So they plan to produce 8 48-minute episodes, and the miniatures and terrain will be built and painted by the players.
Yep.
Of course.
Of course.
So, yes, and Daniel Saye didn't really sell me on his whole interpretation when he the first thing he said in his interview is, "I've played War Dolly since I was a kid."
Nice accent.
I don't know what accent that was, but it's probably his accent. But as War Dollies, really? We're gonna do that?
That's what they are. That's what they are. I mean,
Okay.
like, my partner says, "What did you get? More little people?" I'm like, "Yes, I got more little people."
They're
right?
little people.
They're little people, right?
Yes, yeah. But
dolls.
Dolly's is pejorative, but they and also talking about his happy place of Dungeons and Dragons. So why not combine these two things together? So I have a lot of problems with how he's explaining, the love of storytelling. So especially in the Warhammer space, very interesting and fascinating, grimdark universe. So the players are going to be Inquisitorial agents, and some of them with a long history in the Inquisition. They're going to start their heretic hunt on Syrinx 2, a hive city in the world of 40K. So how did they do this? Well, they took most of the archetypes from D&D and kind of ported them over to a Underhive 40K setting. And so everybody's kind of like, giving their cred that they are tabletop role players as well as war gamers.
Which, I mean, there's a lot of overlap there. So yeah, sure.
And Sugden talked about her, all the map work she's done. She's done a lot of work, and she has a passion for Necromunda. So we'll have a lot of creativity, probably helping build out that world. But the question was posed to Daniel. Why was it important to go with Dungeons and Dragons ruleset rather than something like Wrath and Glory? And he pointed to the shelf behind him and says, I am familiar with these systems. So he has all of the 40K books. And then he went on to list, I love Vastgrim, Morkborg, Wrath and Glory, Soulbound. I am deep in an RPG space and I adore them. But D&D is the shared language that the majority of RPG players have. I don't think it's a shared language of storytelling. That's the thing he keeps going back to, is telling stories. It's like, okay. Yeah. So the efficiency of D&D is what makes it great for a storytelling medium with a mind for an audience. Wrong. I think that is just a misconception that Critical Role gave us.
Yeah.
I don't think the system
everyone is entitled to your opinion.
Yes,
so
yes.
I would have less a problem with this if, I think he goes on saying they did test kind of games with other ones. And anyway, he seemed to imply, the impression I got is that D&D just worked best for this group. It was easier to explain everything and everything because maybe everyone was familiar. Okay, fine. You know what? Then kind of say that.
Yes, yeah. I think that's instead of saying, "Oh, it's this universal language of RPGs and everything." Yeah, just to say that
it is a universal language of RPGs because no one has the market dominance that fucking Hasbro does, bro.
Right.
And you're just helping contribute to that. Like that's my takeaway here. That's my giant beef. Right?
Yeah. So they are just, and I think it's kind of obvious. Everybody involved is just trying to expand their personal brand, and they know just looking at statistics on YouTube and things, D&D, 40K, those are the big boys, and you get huge audiences with those compared to anything.
Like that's the thing, and like I kind of had a minor blow up on Blue Sky, right? Minor because like you don't ever get the numbers that you did on X, right? But whatever.
Yes.
Like the whole thing was like, okay, there are what 5, 6. Someone even said Inquisitor, which might as well have been an RPG. Like 6, 7.
Yeah.
More than 5 official Warhammer 40,000 role-playing game systems that you could have chosen. These were specifically made to play 40K.
Yeah.
So why you chose 5e, right? I mean, like, if you just said, you know what, 5e worked for all my players, the best. We didn't want to have to go through teaching people, so we chose this.
Yeah,
I would buy that.
Yeah, right.
I would buy that. Or if you said, you know what, we understand D&D is going to get us the biggest eyes, I would say, cool. I can't disagree with that. I can hate your choice, but I can, right? It's just, it's the best for telling stories. Something about it, like bullshit, absolute bullshit, right? We're calling it right now.
Yes.
And like I had this kind of big rant on Instagram, right? Where I said, past a certain level of attention, fame, or popularity, you're an influencer whether you want to be or not, which is hence my little influencer joke, right? Where we got people to buy Outgunned, right? Anyway, once you're an influencer, you don't kind of get a public choice. Any public choice you made is going to be interpreted as an endorsement.
Yes, right.
Especially if you're presenting it to an audience such as this AP, right? Like if you were just playing your own little home game, cool, right? No one can say, you're influencing people. But no, you're specifically making this for an audience to be consumed by an audience. Therefore, the choices you make are seen as endorsements.
Right.
A couple of people said, well, they should be allowed to play anything they want. Yes, they should at home.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
maybe they couldn't have chosen a 5e game because they're all ex-GW employees and didn't want to give it GW money. Bullshit. Why are you playing in the 40K universe then? Right? Play Grim Dark Space, right? Or play something else that's not 40K, right? So, I don't know, man. Like, the shitty thing here is that, like, Hasbro and D&D is the GW Warhammer of TTRPG spaces, right? Like, you mashed up the two biggest things together, and I can't fault you for that business decision, right?
Right.
What I can do is call bullshit on your, these were the best for telling stories, and blah, 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 because that's not really why you chose it.
Yeah.
So, that was a much shorter rant than I had planned.
Okay.
You're all welcome.
Yeah, and the approach, the producer-player Hall was talking about, typically you're talking about when people produce these actual play live streams, and we're guilty of this ourselves. We do, almost a 3 to 4 hour live stream. So
probably because we get to game like once in a fucking blue moon.
Yeah, right. And so if you're doing that as a series, and you're going to do something that's like 24 episodes long, that's like 80 to 100 hours of content. So there's a lot of investment for the viewers. So I don't like this. And I hope everyone doesn't start thinking this way. They're trying to package this content in a way that they can sell to streamers or make it digestible in a, bingey kind of, they're just trying to have a Critical Role style success, but trying to do less work, maybe more production, less work.
Okay. So, from someone who tried to watch Critical Role, right? I tried to jump on like season 3 or whatever. Like I went on like, I don't have 80 hours to listen to this thing. If people do, great. So again, I can't fault them saying, you know what? 40-minute episodes.
Yeah,
right?
right.
That's a lot more approachable. It's a lot more consumable. We want people to watch this who maybe don't have the 80 hours to invest in a series. So, cool. I'm fine with that. Right?
Yeah. And there's got to be, especially for the big streamers like Dimension 20 and Critical Role, there's got to be clips channels. Like, fans,
I'm sure
fans will
there are,
edit stuff down and like best of season 2 or whatever to make it more digestible so you don't miss, so you don't have to spend all the hours just to see the one funny role or whatever. It can be all like sports highlights. It can be the.
So like I just remember like my other beef is like, you chose D&D 5e. They said, this works the best for us instead of the other ones, right? Except it didn't have death rolls. We're not going to use the 5 of things. We're going to use inches and stuff so we can use our homage. Just like,
okay.
Okay, it's kind of like the ship of Theseus kind of thing, right? Like, I hate how D&D has become the end-all, be-all of just like, you can do anything in D&D.
If you got it.
If you tweak it into all that, like, that's the unsaid part, right? So all this AP does is help prop up that D&D is anything for everything. And it works for everything as long as you go in and tinker with all the stuff, right? So why do we need all these 40K?
I know. Why
just use D&D, right?
I know. And like, Cubicle 7 is much, I think would appreciate the promotion much more than, Games Workshop.
Well, that's the thing too, right?
And Hasbro, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Also, I think it also pushes set pieces.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand this is for an audience, but when you go, we're going to have these awesome terrain tables and all this and painted miniatures, I'm like, cool. So if someone bypasses whatever, like in the story would lead to this encounter, you're going to railroad them back in, right? Or you're just going to go, the last 2 weeks I spent putting this table together, let's just not use it, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I understand it's a different form of role-playing, geared toward an audience and kind of audience consumption. I don't like how Critical Role, and I'm going to assume this new 40K AP, are kind of like held up as examples of what the hobby are, because they're a very different animal from anything else. And I'm going to shut up about it now so that we can move on to other stuff.
Yeah, they're going to get a big audience, and it's going to increase everybody's numbers, and that's all they're trying to do anyhow.
Yeah, sure.
So,
and you know what? I can't fault them for that because, hey, you know what? If I was in a position to do the same thing, I would. Yeah. I just hope to God I would be honest about it and being like, here's the thing, right? If we ever go, D&D is the best for storytelling. I've been like replaced by like a pod person, or I'm being held hostage against my will. I would just say, you know what? This is a business decision. I'm using the biggest one. Right. It's going to get me the most eyes. I've sold out. Sorry, everybody.
Well, that's when that corporate messaging, that bullshit where they just cover their motives, their economic or logistic motives for doing things with this. We feel this is the most expressive, the most creative, the most don't even. So they're going to package up these little episodes. They're not going to do very much, so we'll see. And the funny thing is, it's it's going to be a deadly game. So if they're going to play with the roles and be honest, they could have no characters at the end of the. I don't know. They might.
Season I kind of want to. I'm not going to watch it, but I kind of do want to see how it works.
And how the production and everything, because that'll also show you there's what money there is behind them. So we'll see. And I hope they're a little bit more transparent about that. I hope they have some, advertisers or sponsors that they're going to admit to, instead of, we're kind of getting stuff under the table from Games Workshop and blah, blah, blah. Because, that was the, anyhow, it's a little shady. But anyway, let's move on to something more fun. Right. Pendragon 6E is getting their first campaign.
I can't see a number in E without thinking. I'm sorry.
Yes.
They
edition, the 6th edition.
Right.
So Pendragon 6th edition gets its core rulebook, but it also gets a very famous early campaign. So the Grey Knight is coming out. So if you're looking for courtly love, knightly virtues, and monstrous vices.
What if I'm looking for like monstrous love, knightly virtues?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I tried to mix that
knightly
up.
Vices. Yes.
Knightly vices. Oh, yeah.
Ooh. So this is one of Pendragon's first campaigns. And the interesting thing that stood out to me is it like spans generations. We keep kind of stumbling into that with John Carter and Dune have for the actual play of like, oh wow, they've got kids now, and so we could actually continue playing. This could become a generational. Play out the kids? Not yet, but we will.
I meant like
producing it. No. They just kind of showed up.
All right,
the stork,
as they do.
The Arrakis
suddenly kids.
Right, and. So a complete campaign, fully compatible with both, and this is nice, the starter set, which is already out, and then the newly released core rulebook. Cool. So you can start playing right away. So The Grey Knight waits for vengeance. The time is running out. Can you find the treasure that holds the key to defeating this vile foe and save the kingdom itself?
Is the Grey Knight gray because they waited so long?
Maybe he got old.
Sorry.
He got old. So it's a beginner-friendly campaign book. And the other interesting thing is it contains the 2 prequel scenarios from the starter set.
Okay.
So you have a little bit of duplication in this book because you already have that starter set, but then you've got multiple copies of things that I think it's all soft cover in the starter set if it's Chaosium. But you'll also get to meet Arthur, Guinevere, Merlin, and Morgan Le Fay in this one of their earlier campaigns. So yeah, it sounds like a good place to start and maybe like themed well enough. And there's also a beautiful map of England included. So you'll have all kinds of wonderful things to use, for your campaign. So that's good to see. It's good to see they're getting stuff out.
I've been interested in Pendragon for a while, though I probably will never get to play it. But the generational thing intrigues me.
Yeah, I think so. So that's good to see. Chaosium is getting stuff out. Yeah, so now we have the core book and our first big campaign for Pendragon. So I'll put a link in the description to both the PDF and then the hardcover on the Chaosium store. So let's get a little dark here. So Evil Genius Games, who actually
lives up to their name.
Yes, they actually published, or I think online, published a manifesto saying that they will not go near any of this Web3 technology.
Publish a manifesto, I kind of instantly.
Yeah, you're instantly a little dangerous. Yeah. So Dave Scott, the used car salesman of the tabletop universe, is now trying to figure out a way, because things are collapsing, and we reviewed, there was a wonderful breakdown of the history of Evil Genius Games, and they're kind of, we had a little bit of, remember that moment when they got screwed by Netflix over the deal for the
over the Everything movie?
Yeah, right, the Everything movie. And so for a minute we were like, never mind. And decided to stop feeling sorry. Yeah, they published that Technology Code of Ethics back in February, and now I think it's digitally they've burnt every bite of it because Evil Genius Games is back, and they have decided to move full speed ahead. And how do we know this? Well, I'll put a link again to that Rise and Fall of Evil Genius Games that was done really, really well. But they attended a Consensus 2024, which is a Texas-based convention run by CoinDesk, which is the world's largest, longest-running, and most influential gathering that brings together all sides of cryptocurrency, blockchain, and the Web3 community. What are they doing there?
Nothing
and
good.
So they decided to enter a competition to pitch how they would approach doing TTRPG in this Web3 environment. So
I don't know, man.
Everything's on the table.
Web3 and like AI, it's just like there are solutions that don't have problems.
Yeah, right.
And so you try and come up with the problems about why you have to use them.
Yes.
And that's all just bullshit.
Yes. So and a quote from Scott himself. So we made the decision not to do AI in October, and then not to do Web3 in December, but apparently it wasn't good enough to allay any concerns, and then we had all the resignations. We brought our team together and felt a public, was their code of ethics statement, because they lost a lot of people that were suspicious that they were going to do whatever they wanted, and this kind of proves it. So unfortunately, well, and this even smells a little bit like new TSR, because there was a funny thing involved. So they are a quote from Scott that when he introduced this pitch is, we make turn-based RPGs on a chain based on famous blockbuster movie franchises that we all know and love. So that's what they have. Those are the rights they have, and this is what they're going to produce. And here is the here's the scenario. Here's the pitch. Imagine a scenario where you could actually buy an NFT utilities that are exclusive to these licenses. You could actually fly or actually pilot Gypsy Danger. You could carry Rambo's M60, and all of these have a value that can be bought and sold and traded. But more importantly, in a Roblox, why name Roblox? Roblox fashion, we're going to allow other people to actually create their own NFTs, which can be thrown onto a marketplace. That's because they're so valuable, where they can buy, sell, and trade those adventures as well. Yikes. So basically,
that was obviously pitched at people who don't play role-playing games, and just like,
you know how Roblox works? Well, same thing. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like reading that, just like
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Right. So defining their creator marketplace a little bit more, they explained, a character sheet, right? In an RPG. So all the components of the character sheet will have objects on it. And all those objects will be NFTs. In addition to the actual character sheet itself, that will be mined as an NFT as well. So that means that if you use a character as an NPC in the future, actually pay you royalties on the character itself. It gets better. So the whole thing is based off of objects which have there's a little typo there, that have NFT components to them. Yeah. Wonderful.
I have no idea how any of that would work.
Poorly. I imagine quite poorly. But the thing that smelled a little new TSR to me was he also stated that Jeff Grubb of Dragonlance and D20 Modern fame is working for the company, naming the father of modern day Dungeons and Dragons. But very quickly, Grubb made it clear, I guess it was earlier this year, that he has no current involvement with Evil Genius Games, and his employment of them consisted of him writing a foreword in 2023 to one of the Everyday Heroes books. But now he's an employee. He's a full-time. He's committed. He's involved in the project.
Yeah,
he wrote a foreword.
Smell new TSR-ish.
Yeah, it doesn't that just like pulling some names out there to legitimize their nonsense. Yes, and well, if that doesn't sound promising, how about if I tell you that a wallet as service company named Stardust is also going to be involved in the handling of these transactions, because all of these companies with these wacky new names are completely legitimate because they will democratize the blockchain technology for developers and players at scale. So obviously they met at a convention.
Sorry, my brain turned off about like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so that had a lot of fun comments underneath it, because this is also people that read the Rise and Fall article. And one of my favorites, was from O'Brien. Nobody wants any of this. Nobody's going to buy some Magic Sword NFT on some corporate marketplace for $200 or even $2 to use in a TTRPG. The whole point of a TTRPG is that you make a naughty word up and pretend to be elves with your friends. If the GM wants to hand out a magic sword, they hand you a magic sword. You don't need to buy a token on a blockchain for that. And you certainly don't need to buy whatever cryptocurrency Evil Genius Games is going to shill for it.
That's pretty good. Exactly.
But just as a little addition here, Embracer said, well, hold my Eldritch beer, because we are fully committed to incorporating AI technology in video game development. So the tentacles are still at play, still reaching. So they have laid off, Embracer Group, among their assets, has laid off 1,500 employees and canceled 80 projects in mostly video game development. But they say we are committed to massively enhance the production process by increasing resource efficiency, adding intelligent behaviors, personalization, and optimization to gameplay experiences, all with AI. They don't know quite how they're going to do that, but that's what they're going to do, right? Because they're saying AI can also be used within such areas as logistics or HR, AI HR, to improve planning, decision-making, support, talent acquisition, and enhance employee experiences or retention. So the AI is going to get you to stay at your desk. So wonderful. Yes. So Embracer Group is committing to utilizing AI with their operations. And this should be really fun, because AI applications are comprehensive and require, among many other things, documentation, risk assessment, as well as continuous updates. And AI's got you covered with all of that.
Computers should never be put in the position where they make a decision, because computers cannot be held accountable.
Right. And especially by people's livelihood, like feeding their families. Sorry, we calculated you as a risk. But it just seems like this is one of those things where, you're at a concert, at a live show, and somebody stands up. They're not sitting in their seat anymore. Somebody stands up, and then everybody stands up. All of the software publishers and are basically already saying, we're committed to investigating this. So Sony, Square Enix, and Ubisoft have already said, we're looking into this as well. So once somebody does this, everybody has to do it, or else you can't compete. In whatever streamlining this is going to cause.
This is also the result of shareholder.
Yes.
Stuff,
right?
Right?
And be able to have the buzzwords and say, we're into AI, guys. So have faith. Stay positive. We'll get you those
Absolutely not.
Those dividends you've been dying for. Yeah. So I like that Embracer kind of had to chime in and stay committed. But let's end on a happier note. So Free RPG Day is June 22nd, 2024. And we have on their website a cute little pop-ups. Yeah, we're using a new monitor. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Not this Chris, other Chris, not Wayne Chris. Yes.
Yeah.
Of so on their website, they got a little pop-up. So some of the things that are being offered. So what Ninth Level Games is doing, the guys that do the Return to Dark Tower RPG are doing a fun one-shot and an anthology, an indie anthology. Guillotine Games and Come On are promoting their Plague Bearer Dark Fantasy, which is the Zombicide Dark Ages setting. Free League has got you covered with Dragonbane, the Sinking Tower. So the official tournament adventure for Dragonbane. Who else do we got here? Goodman Games is doing their Across the Veil of Time for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Kobold Press, what do they got for you waiting at the store here? So come on this big card table. The Shards of Spellforge. Oh yeah, so a compatible a 5e or Tales of the Valiant compatible adventure. And who else would see? Magpie, Rebels and Refugees, and of course Avatar Legends Dice, because that's their big puppy. The multiverse, Marvel Multiverse role-playing game is, to me, X-Men, an X-Men adventure that you've all been waiting for. Paizo's got a Pathfinder, the Toy Heist, and for Starfinder's Second Contract. Those sound familiar. I hope they are not repeating themselves, but adventure for each of those. Artelsarian is, Shadowscar. That's right. So we talked about this a little bit. This is Cody Pondsmith's kind of Japanophile kind of mashup of cyberpunk and samurai and everything you possibly could love about your favorite Japanese pop culture.
That doesn't actually exist in Japan.
That doesn't actually exist, but anyhow, it's fun. And the funny guys that I'm totally blanking on Renegade are giving you Red Tundra for Werewolf and Unnatural Disaster for, I don't know, the RPG that's going to include somehow G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, and My Little Pony all combined together. Yes. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. So good luck with that, guys. And for Roll20, of course, you'll get a free month. You'll get a free month. Lots of fun stuff. Oh, and Wet Ink. That's right. Wet Ink is going to give you Garbage and Glory. So this is an adventure for their Trash Panda new system and setting. Play as raccoons in a fantasy garbage dump world. Yeah, so it's a fantasy setting where you all play raccoons and
that
trash.
Could be funny. I mean, I have feelings on Redwall-esque style RPGs where everything's like so cute and fun. And like, as long as they love swords and they're still killing shit, I'm like, it doesn't matter how cute the protagonists are. They're still murdering each other out here, right?
Right. Yeah. That's true. And lastly, Steamforged Games is bringing you their a quick start for their RuneScape Kingdoms. So lots of fun stuff. And I think some of the dice and figure makers are giving you samples of dice and stuff. So, hey.
Of course, we won't be getting any of that.
We won't be getting any of it. We have to, I think you can, if you're a brick and mortar shop, like abroad, you can request, them to send you a package. And you're going to pay a hell of a lot for shipping. So it doesn't quite become that profitable for a somebody outside their local markets. But so check that out if you've got any stores that are supporting it. And I think you can,
if you have stores that are supporting it, then by all means, like, go check it out and go buy something from the store. So.
Right, grab the free stuff off the table, but also patronize the store.
Like with money.
With money, not just make fun of them and say they're losers.
Strangle on suckers.
I got my dice, I'm out of here. But that'll do it for this week. Yeah. So where can people find you?
On social media places. I'm Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where if I'm not too tired to post stuff, I'll be posting something.
Nice.
Hopefully playtest rules of that little war game eventually.
Oh, nice. Yes, and keep us up to date on what's going on there.
So how about you?
And yes, I still haven't. I will be doing, but I haven't done my July live stream yet. But
it's not July yet.
Yeah, look for that. So I'll have to do it maybe end of June to get ready for all the publishing dates. But I'll do Abuse Cartoons. So my single panel gag cartoon. And if you want to read that cartoon, you can go to GoComics. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse.
20 years.
Yes, 20 years of comics, so thousands of those things. Oof. And if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a weekling.
Hey, I missed my cue. I was busy reading the screen. The strongest of all supporters, right?
Yes, at patreon.com/upturntable.
Just proof that we don't pre-record.
Yes, we're not. It's live. And you can become a patron at that tier to tell us what you like to see on the weekly. And there's other tiers to support our lore videos, our actual plays, all kinds of other stuff that we're doing. Upturntable.com is the website where you can find all of that, and Upturntable on all social media.
Yeah.
So we'll do this again next week. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you then.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.